Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We are so excited to have you all here and joining us for the very first of our six uh, pivoting to procurement sessions. I'm just going to give everyone a moment to trickle in. We're so excited to have you all. We would love to learn a little bit about your businesses, a little bit about yourselves. Please share some information in the chat. We're so happy to have you all here and, you know, connecting with us. You can connect via the chat, so you can introduce yourselves in the chat, and then you can also have some Q&A as well throughout the program. Again, we're so happy to have you all. We're just giving everyone a moment to join. Feel free to let your network know that you are here for our first session of Pivoting to Procurement on social media, and make sure to tag us and our presenters as well. And just so that all of you are aware, if you are not, this is the first in 6 sessions for Pivoting to Procurement. You're here for Government Contracting Basics. We will be having this and 5 additional sessions, all at 4 p.m. And you'll really get a great sense of pivoting to procurement and all of the procurement basics. You can choose to attend the sessions that work for you, or you can attend all 6 sessions, and attendees who join all 6 sessions will receive a procurement basics certificate from the Small Business Development Center, which is new for this series this year. That's the first time that we're offering this certificate, so we're so happy to be able to offer that. Like I said, please, as you're joining us, please join us in the chat. You can introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your business, and then as we're going through the presentation, if you have any questions, you can add them to the Q&A. All right, I am so excited to have you all here. I am going to turn it over to your moderator today, Taya, who is then going to get us started. So I'm going to hand it over to Taya. Thank you.
Thanks, Rachel. Welcome, everyone. My name is Kaya Brown, and I'm the Administrative Coordinator at the Temple Small Business Development Center. The Temple SBDC helps small businesses start, grow, and succeed. We do this through our no-cost consulting and a variety of our no-cost webinar programs like you're attending today. You're joining us for Pivoting to Procurement, Government Contracting Basics. We're recording today's session, and a follow-up email will be sent to all attendees within 2 to 3 business days. We ask all attendees to post in the chat and Q&A if you have any questions. Now I'll turn over the floor to Natasha Buchanan.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and I also want to thank you all for joining. I want to give a special thanks to Temple SBDC, with whom we work closely as we assist our mutual clients as they're trying to expand their market into government marketing procurement space. So I am going to be sharing my presentation. So let me and I'm going to turn the camera off just to minimize the distractions. So just bear with me as I am identifying. There we go. I think this works. There we go. Thank you very much. And we can begin. So as I said, my name is Natasha Borchanin. I am a program manager for Southeast PA Apex Accelerator. And my procurement background stems from working with USAID on federal level, Philadelphia International Airport on a local level, and have been a small business owner for 15 years that was sustained via being awarded successful RFP submissions. I know what you're facing right now. So I just wanted to give you an idea, a little bit of who I am and my background, so you know who you're speaking with. Now, a little bit about our program. Some of you may know us as PTACs, Procurement Technical Assistance Centers. We were previously funded by DLA, Defense Logistics Agency, and currently we are funded by Department of Defense, Office of Small Business Program. And as a part of this transition, our program is being rebranded into Apex Accelerators. And this change is occurring not just with us, but 90 plus centers nationwide. And so if you see us, we are going to be, the term's going to be used interchangeably for quite some time, but we are the same organization providing same great service, supporting businesses like yours navigating government contracting market. And what will change as part of this transition is DoD is looking closely into how to increase our scope and resources to support you even better in the future. Uh, what we do is we provide no cost government contracting assistance. If you can believe it, sometimes I say we are the best hidden secret, but just like SBDC, center services, a lot of our services, all of our services are free of charge. And they usually come in the form of webinars like this one. And we have our YouTube channel here where you can find any previously provided sessions to anyone who is interested in government marketing. Or we also provide one-on-one counseling. We match your business with one of our counselors. We are a small team of 6 part-time counselors serving Berks, Bucks, Chester, Delaware, Lehigh, Montgomery, Northampton, and Philadelphia counties. And with education and advisory services, we provide you with government marketing tools, assist you with research and plan development. We assist you with vendor registration, proposal evaluations, interpreting those RFPs, RFQs, or whatever they are, right? And as I said, we provide education and advice, and the work still resides with you. So the goal of today's session is to gain a big picture insight into government procurement. And also I want you to walk away knowing what you need to keep in mind when you're considering government market. Agenda for today is discussing government marketing in federal, state, and local government programs, government procurement processes, specific programs and certifications for small businesses that you may qualify for, understanding what is required to market to government agencies, and some of the government marketing strategies, and also resources we can assist you in your government marketing journey. So bear with me. I'm going to be sharing a lot of information throughout the session. Feel free to put a question in a chat. I don't mind being interrupted. I think sometimes these questions are best discussed as we are on the topic. So I'm joined here by our assistant program manager, Beth Albach, who will also be monitoring chat and putting some helpful tools in the chat for you as I'm referencing some links, and Taya will be monitoring for your questions. So thank you for allowing for this introduction. So let's dive right in, right? So let's discuss the largest market, and that is US federal government, and it's the largest market in the world, right? Therefore, it is also a very competitive market. Federal government purchases just about any type of product or service. However, how they buy and what is required to sell to the government is very different from a commercial sector that some of you might be functioning within right now. Right? Local and state governments offer additional opportunities, and it often can be a great gateway into government contracting as they are especially invested to keep their money and resources within their regional limits. So for example, City of Philadelphia has an LBE, Local Business Enterprise Certification, which may give a local business an advantage over their non-local competition. So do not discount local and state opportunities, especially as you're trying to enter into government procurement. Even if you're working with federal government, they like to see past performance with the government, whether it's on a local or state level. So in order to compete in this market, you will need to become a procurement ready. So we're going to also discuss later on what that exactly means and some of the tips on how to get you there. But we find that here are some of the success factors that we find as we work with our clients that have become successful in marketing to government. Is usually always a great thing to have is a plan, and that is to a business plan. If you do not have one, we do suggest that you build one. because it will really help you understand your own resources. And we often work closely with SBDC. So if we see a business that we are working with does not have a business plan, we do refer them to SBDC for those services in order to understand their resources, because it will also dictate your government marketing plan. If you currently do have a business plan and you have decided to embark on the government procurement journey, we do suggest that you update your business plan with that in mind. We also know, based on experience, that government is fairly risk averse. So they like to see businesses that have been successful in providing product or service, even if it's in a commercial sector. So, as you're considering your markets, do not put all your eggs in one basket, that basket being government marketing. So do pursue your growth through a commercial experience as well. Uh, I know some people, may be successful in making widgets, but not so computer savvy. However, having computer capabilities or expertise or access to those is very important, because all of the registrations, all of the procurement processes and communication currently happens online. A lot of networking and matchmaking events all happening online. So we do definitely suggest to boost that capacity. As we have learned with some of the businesses that we are working with, they try to complete SAM registration on their phone. And I'm telling you right now, not only that is difficult, but it is, some of the platforms are not mobile ready. So once again, having computer capability is very important. Having financial stability. I know it's your small business that is a moving target sometimes, but government doesn't pay in advance, doesn't pay right away. So you want to make sure that you can be financially stable and sustain your business should you win a government contract for 30, 60, 90 days, whatever the payday may be, right? So also having a good customer mix. Government likes to see that you have not just one client that you're consistently serving, but more than one, right? They want to see that you can function in different environments, in a commercial or government. And last but not least is to really have strong industry specific capabilities and ability to showcase those, right? So those are not one and the same, as we know, but really be an expert at that thing that you do, right? We do find some businesses that are looking to find out what government is buying and then retrofit on how to sell this to the government, but that we find that they're less likely to be successful because they will be competing in a space where other businesses may have previous experience. So definitely, be strong and really understand what you're looking to sell. One of the helpful things to know is you might be discouraged, be thinking, oh, just the large businesses are getting um, the opportunities. I want to let you know that the federal government has contracting goals that are associated with different socioeconomic groups. Basically, they have an obligation to share our taxpayers' dollars with, as you see, small businesses 25%, 50% to 8A program businesses. It's a 8A program is a small disadvantaged business program. Certification is issued by SBA, Small Business Administration. 7% opportunity need to go to women-owned small businesses, 4% to the veteran-owned small businesses, and 4% to hub zone. So those are the goals that government has, and they are hoping to meet. So we will also discuss how that plays into your government marketing strategy. And Hub Zone is a historic, just for those that may not be familiar, is historically underutilized business zones. I want to let you know, Philadelphia has majority of hub business zones, and not many businesses are pursuing that certification. So we can certainly help you, guide you, and help you identify if you are eligible for these certifications. All of those certifications listed here are federally issued certifications by Small Business Administration, and they are issued and free of charge. So most government agency, even local and state, they have different diverse supplier certification programs. So as you're considering your certifications, consider and following your market research, it's also helpful to find out what types of certifications are accepted by which levels of government. The chances are pretty good that the federal opportunities will require those federal certifications that I have mentioned in my previous slide. So basically, federal agency does a lot of market research, usually under title of pre-solicitation or request for information. So that is government putting a feelers out to see if particular need of government can be fulfilled by a small business, woman-owned business, small disadvantaged business, hub-zone business. And based on that research, they decide if that opportunity will be designated as what is called a set aside. That means that that opportunity will only be made available to businesses with those socioeconomic designations and basically shrinks the pool of competition, if that makes sense. So I'm just trying to um, really simplify it and help you understand how certification program works. Also, if you have those certifications, partner with some of the large primes as beneficials. They like to partner as they have obligation toward the subcontracting plan. And we will give you a little bit of an overview of that later on the other side. So, but your business needs, in order for government to account for those certifications, registration and certifications are required to prove the business status of these programs. And as you are registering in relevant portals, including sam.gov, you will indicate designations for your business, whether you're self-certified, meaning you're just stating that your business belongs in that category, or you pursue an actual certification to Small Business Administration. We can also help if you sign up for our services. We can certainly provide guidance in that direction to designate with you which is the best certification for your business. So now let's discuss what does it mean to become procurement ready. Once again, having appropriate vendor registrations. Governments will not work with you unless you are a verified business and registered in these different portals. In order to be registered in these portals, you need to have properly set up your company with the state of Pennsylvania. You need to have proper documents in place, and those will be required in order to verify your business. You need to have your EIN number, tax ID number, and that goes same for federal, state, and local government procurement spaces. Federal government, sam.gov being the most complicated one. We will touch on that later on as well. So I wanted to check with you, Ted. Do we have any questions before I move on?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
We have a question from
Yes.
Kylie. When looking for state and local contracting opportunities, what guidance do you have for identifying opportunities, particularly outside of the large urban centers where websites may not be developed and easy to navigate?
Got it. So yes, so sometimes we help businesses identify. First of all, we try to understand why you're targeting those particular sources, right? So it's sometimes, if you're industry insider, you have heard that government has a need. For example, City of Philadelphia has the entire portal dedicated to those, right? And they will list opportunities there. That is one way we can do it. Sometimes we also assist clients with finding a procurement department within that local or state government and reaching out to procurement departments. Sometimes they have small business liaison contacts, and their job is exactly that: assist businesses navigate their opportunities, right? So even if they're not published, reaching out to them saying I'm procurement ready, right? And letting them know what services and products, also asking to be on their what's called preferred vendor list or list of list serves for events that they may have for networking. We can assist in all of those ways. Another way we can assist is we provide our clients at no cost something that's called a bid match. And bid match is basically a list serve that sends in your inbox recently published opportunities for you to review. There's a caveat. Before we provide this, we want to make sure that you're procurement ready, because what we don't want to see happen is you see an opportunity, you want to go after that opportunity, but you're still waiting 4 weeks for your SAM.gov registration. So we don't want you to be, frustrated by the process. So we want to make sure that you have your capability statement as a tool, that all your registrations are in place before we offer that service. So those are the ways we can assist. I hope that helps.
And then the last part for the question is, what about for companies with remote workforces located across many states and communities?
Okay. So Apex accelerators are located locally. And the reason for that is, so we work with businesses in the region where they are registered, right? And the reason being is because each Apex accelerator is an expert or local, state, and federal opportunities. So if a business is located in Boston, I may not be, or my team may not, we are not experts in Boston procurement, right? So that's why we are regionally organized. So if you don't belong in one of those counties for these business opportunities, we can certainly help you. And Beth can put in a chat our national organization that lists each APACs that you can reach out to for service. Okay. I'm assuming I can move on with the presentation.
There's no more questions at this time.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, so we're going to continue with the discussion on how to become a procurement ready. And I can't stress enough how market research is important, especially for small businesses like you, right? So market research will really help you assess uh, how to allocate your resources, right? So finding out who is buying what you're selling is essential, right? And government luckily has an obligation again to be transparent on how they're spending our taxpayers' dollars and to showcase that they have different public databases that are very useful in gaining insight on how government is purchasing what we are looking to sell. So for an example, there is a database called FPDS, Federal Procurement Database Systems. Get used to acronyms. Government loves acronyms. So there's an alphabet soup of them. And while the database itself may appear something outdated and somewhat out of 80s and not very user-friendly, it does contain a plethora of information, such as which agencies are most likely to buy what you're looking to sell, to whom bids have previously been awarded to, what are the dollar amounts associated with those wins. And this information really can define your marketing strategy. You can use it to identify points of contact to network with, whether it's a government agency or prime, potential earnings for your business, government coding associated with those products and services. So you will gain an insight into how language government uses to publish these opportunities. And based on this information, you would devise that strategy, creating an actual action steps toward your government marketing. Creating a pitch is very important, and making sure that your marketing collateral has the same message across the board, right? So, and messages, and you're usually on a right track with your message if you have answered some of the following questions, such as, what are an agency particular challenges or needs? What does your product or service help the government accomplish? How has anyone else in the government benefited from your offering previously? So past performance is very important to the government. Why should the government buy from you? Right? List your differentiators and different contract vehicles. They want to know that you have dedicated team for them to communicate with for fulfillment of the contracts further down the road. So it kind of builds a good faith. And you want to make sure that all your other marketing collateral, website, capability statements, anything marketing wise, that it mirrors that same message. So be consistent across the board, right? And it's also important for them to know, what does your company do to make it easy for government to buy from you, right? Speak to your procurement readiness. And this is something we can assist you, right? As you're doing your market research, you will also learn what government language is relative to, solicitations. So if you are transitioning from a commercial sector into a government sector, uh, create a separate dedicated pool of marketing materials that are speaking to government professionals, such as check your marketing materials for phrases such as increase your profits or your company can, right? Because you're not speaking to another business. You're speaking to a government now. So you can replace it with phrases such as meet your agency mandates or needs, address constituents' needs more efficiently, and so on, right? This is just to give you a little bit of an idea without going too much detail. So, and then finally, what will ultimately gain you government work is responding to different types of solicitations, such as RFPs, RFQs, just to name a few of the major ones. Each of those are surrounded by federal acquisition regulations, or known as FARs. And you need to understand all of those to understand if you qualify for these opportunities, right? So each solicitation clearly states a scope of work. So I often counsel my clients to go to that document first, right? Because reading through this and understanding your resources, because you have already prepared a good business plan, like we discussed, right, will also help you decide if this is a right opportunity for you and a good fit for your company, whether you have resources. So before I move on, do I see any questions I see a chat, but I don't see the particular. Do we have questions?
No questions.
No questions. Okay, thank you. So I'm going to move on and we're going to discuss vendor registrations. We spoke about being registered in appropriate government portals. And for purposes of this presentation, I will discuss the biggest and most complicated one, and that is SAM.gov, where federal government publishes most of its opportunities. This is where having your business properly registered with the state and having actual physical location becomes very important, because once you register in SAM, your business becomes what is a part of known as what we meant DSBS, Dynamic Small Business Search Database. So the good thing is your business, once registered, becomes visible. The bad thing is your business comes visible. So it is visible to federal agencies and other potential subcontracting opportunities, but it's also visible to other businesses. They may want to solicit your business to register you in SAM for a fee. I'm letting you know right now, we can do this at free of charge with you by either providing you guides or virtually guiding you step by step through this registration process. So before you pay anybody, right? And those businesses, they're very good at misrepresenting themselves or making themselves look like they're part of government, but registration in SAM is always free, so do not pay for it, right? Unless you choose to, unless you're welcome to do that. But like I said, we can assist you with this. So in order to register in SAM and in preparation for your registration, you're going to need to identify some codes, a primary code being NAICS codes, North American Industrial Classification System codes. And they have replaced SIC, Standard Industrial Codes, that categorizes what you're looking to sell to the government. Those NAICS codes are also linked with the business side standards, right? So if you have NAICS codes with uh, product or service you're looking to sell to the company, it also needs to meet the standard of small business. Determining whether you're large or small business will be determined by these NAICS codes, right? So and usually those codes are classified by sales per year, and for manufacturers, they're classified by number of employees. So you need to identify as many as apply to your product or service. But for purposes of SAM registration, you need to have a minimum of one primary code listed. Some other additional codes are product and service codes. So NAICS codes, what you're looking to sell to the government. PSC codes are coding how government is actually buying goods and services, and they look a little bit different. Beth, if you wouldn't mind putting resources for both NAICS codes and PSC codes in a chat for everyone to be able to make a note for themselves, but we can also help you identify those for the purposes of registration and later on capability statement. So now we're just going to quickly review SAM registration. If you want to compete in federal space, it's an absolute must. It is required by federal agencies in order to award you a contract or a purchase order, right? So any business you do with the government, especially directly, you need to have a CAGE code. If you have UEI code, unique entity identifier, that may be sufficient for some subcontracting opportunities, but in order to be fully validated in SAM registration, you need to have all proper registrations, your EIN number, and you need to have a physical space, not a virtual space or virtual office, even if you're with Staples and says a suite number, in order to be registered in SAMs. Government needs to be able to find you your physical location. And once you register in SAM, in a nutshell, it will allow you to be visible to other buyers and businesses, and you will be able to search for published opportunities that you may want to compete for. Once you're registered in SAM, you also become part of SBA, Small Business Administration's dynamic small business search. So it is a database for all small businesses competing in federal space. It is a free marketing tools. It is used by government agency and private contractors to find small businesses like yours whenever there's a need that they need to fulfill. And it is required for some companies if you, let's say, want to obtain your your socioeconomic certifications. Registering in SAM quickly is kind of a three-step process. The first one is to establish your credentials by signing up with login.gov. And once you have that login, it will not only give you access to SAM.gov registration, but also give you access to grants.gov and FPDS, the database search that we have mentioned previously. This is what SAM.gov website looks like, and in order to get started, you will click on Get Started and proceed through steps 2 and 3. First one is to obtain your UEI number, which basically means that the database has revealed your business as actual existing business. And then the third step is to obtain your CAGE code, where you commit to different sets of federal acquisition regulations. As I mentioned, those are all important in order to compete in a federal space. And we do suggest, for people to really supplement this DSBS database, having keywords, a good capability narrative with a few sentences describing your core product and services, showing references to past performance evidence, makes your business even more discoverable to anybody that is looking to do work with you, right? Whether a prime contractor or a contracting officer from a federal department. So before I move on, I want to see if there are any questions right now.
No questions.
Okay. So there are some basic marketing considerations that are fairly self-explanatory. You need to solve a problem for your buyer, right? In this case, the buyer being, federal government. And they will also need to understand, you need to understand who is buying what you're offering. And you need to, what types of contracts are issued? What do those solicitations look like? What does your competition look like, right? So you can look at vendors that were previously awarded this contract as your competition, or you can see them as potential partners, right? So networking with them, being part of their subcontracting plan or joint venture, or whatever the case may be, I always say, other competition is also an opportunity, right? So, and presentation is very important. Capability statement is definitely one of those tools. I see that you have it as part of your procurement series. You can take that seminar and revisit that. Having your website and other marketing materials ready, right? And then advantages are also kind of your differentiators. What makes you stand out from the competition? Also, another understanding your company's resources, whether it's the workforce that you have available, time and workload. We know as a small business, we often do not consider time because you end up working all the time. But government contracting requires considerable amount of time, and it's a serious factor that needs to be considered. Really understand your expertise and capabilities, because even if you were to win a contract, you want to make sure that you really built a good track record, right? So you don't want to fail at the first attempt. As I mentioned, you want to make sure that you have finances in place, and that to sustain the project until your first payday, which can be 30, 60, or 90 days. Government does not pay in advance most often, right? And then I know that some businesses are hoping to sell to the government, and they're looking to outsource the scope of work. However, government wants you to be very transparent about that. If you're considering account sourcing to other partners, keep in mind that majority of the work most often must be performed by the prime business bidding on the project. Usually it is up to 50% the minimum that you can outsource, and government will want you to be very transparent about your plan on fulfilling the terms of the contract. So your government marketing strategy should define your target agencies and prime contractors based on the research, develop a strong capability statement, and develop a contact list, like build that networking muscle and start reaching out to them, and be very strategic in your communication. Share with them capability statement and your intent, right, on how you're looking to partner with them. All the federal agencies have a small business offices, and their job is also to support you through this journey and let you know what opportunities are out there for you, right? But you need to be very strategic, because every communication leaves an imprint and an impression on your business. So be mindful of that, right? And also learn the bidding process, know your competition, make your capabilities known, be tactful when you're following up. And if you know what networking events, procurement conferences, trade shows, a lot of them are virtual right now. There's a lot of matchmaking sessions. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. We offer 2, 3 matchmaking sessions throughout the year, where you can directly connect with the federal agencies as well as other prime businesses. And have a professional website. It needs to mirror all your other marketing materials. We often suggest having a page dedicated to government contracting, so you know that you are dedicating the resources to these efforts. We discussed subcontracting a little bit. It is often a good gateway into new to government contracting. Subcontracting something to keep in mind, right? So these large opportunities that are 750,000 or over, for construction that's 1.5 million and over, these prime companies have an obligation to have a subcontracting plan. They need to include you in this particular award. So finding businesses that are looking for that are looking to partner with smaller businesses is a great way to go. We have an upcoming session, for example, with one of the largest government contractors, Lockheed Martin. So Bethy, you can also put a link in a chat if you want to register for that event. So even if you don't want to work with Lockheed Martin directly, they will tell you everything that they're considering when they're deciding to include someone in their subcontracting plan, right? Very important. And the upside of subcontracting is that burden of all the solicitation and research falls on these large companies, right? You just need to deliver your product and service, and this way you can build your portfolio in a government marketing space. Okay, and then there's some organizations that support you along the way. Apex Accelerator is one of us. We also have a national association. So if we don't have an answer, there's hundreds and hundreds of us that provide this type of service. We reach out to our network daily to look for answers because it's not possible to know everything. So if we don't have an answer, we look for one. SBDC will really help you become ready as a business and increase your resources. Small Business Administration has their tools. A GSA, General Service Administration, is one of the vehicles government is using with already established of minimum 2 years businesses. Basically, the GSA has two clients. One is businesses, another one is federal agencies that are procuring opportunities through GSA. Right? So action items for you at the end of this presentation is decide if government contracting is for you, right? It's not be for everybody. It's a lot of work, time, and effort. Conduct your market research to decide on just that, right? And as a start, I say focus on a few targeted agencies that you find are most likely to purchase what you're looking to sell. Register as a vendor in these portals. Assign your company resources. So if you have a team, decide and task those among your team with particular tasks. Develop a government marketing sales plan and your materials, and then begin with the execution. I just want you all to remember it is a marathon and not a race, right? So we often find ourselves myth busting a lot of YouTube channels who feels like that try to lead you down the path of how easy it is to sell to the government. I just want to let you know you have to be patient with the process. And I think that will conclude my presentation. Leave a little bit of time for Q&A. I want to thank you all for listening. And let me know, if you have any questions. As I mentioned, if I don't have an answer, I will certainly try to find you one, and you can put your information in a chat, and we will try to answer your question the best way possible. Right. So this is a way to reach us. If you want to sign up for our services, there's a link to become a client right in the system. And if you are already an SBDC client, you will save yourself some steps in registering. So yes, thank you all for listening.
And it looks like we have a few questions coming in. The first question is, can you explain the difference between government contracting versus RFPs?
Okay, so government contracting is, RFPs is one of different types of solicitations that government issues when they're looking to buy something. So RFP stands for request for proposal, right? So a government procurement office puts together an RFP, right? So an RFP is a request for proposal, and in that request for proposal, you will find documents that are relating to the scope of work, what exactly they are looking to purchase, and how they want that service to be fulfilled. Usually RFPs, the request for proposals, are service oriented versus requests for quotes, right? Where the just primary consideration is a number. So it is just a name for a type of solicitation of how government is purchasing. So, and also those requests for proposal will also list all of the requirements and federal acquisition regulations relative to that solicitation.
And then the last question is, what type of services government needs?
what type of services government needs?
Yes.
Okay, so government buys anything and everything, right? So, so that's why I'm always saying to lean in, to begin your government marketing journey based on your company's capabilities, right? So, otherwise, you will just go down a rabbit hole of researching because government buys everything. They buy IT services, human resource services, accounting services, educational services, different types of products as well. So they buy, for military needs, for non-defense needs. So they really buy everything. And sometimes, finding opportunities in needle and a haystack. Just to give you an example, I have a client that is in the makeup industry and we like a challenge. So we found an opportunity that in federal prison system, where they're looking for, certain makeup products, to meet their needs of their inmates. So they really buy anything and everything.
That concludes all the questions at the moment.
Okay. Thank you all very much. I hope you find these links helpful here. And yeah, so feel free if you think of some later on. Harsha, you're very welcome. I'm looking at the chat. So it's been a pleasure, joining you for this webinar. And now you know how to find us if you should have any additional questions.
Thank you everyone for joining us. We do value your feedback. A survey link was posted in the chat. It's a 4-question survey. This is required by our funders, the Small Business Administration, so we can continue to provide no-cost workshops, as well as please check out the other links that was provided. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out directly to Apex or to the Temple SBDC, and we'll be happy to answer any questions. And you can also find in the chat box the registration link for the other procurement series. And again, thanks everyone.
Okay.